Stupid for Dexter. I am Kat Steele, and this is the lovely Miss Mandy Schneider.
Hello, and back by popular demand. You didn't think he'd make it, but producer Mike is in the house.
Here he is.
I posted on Twitter I wasn't making it, but I did.
Magic.
I'm working a real job.
What?
That's true.
Right, a real production job, and they made me work on Sunday. And Saturday, yesterday, when I wasn't working, 71 emails.
Whoa.
But here I am now, looking very tired, and then I got
You created an Android,
I got
right?
like an 8 a.m. call time tomorrow, too, for this real job.
Ew.
Crazy.
Boo jobs.
Stupid for Dexter, yay!
Yay! We're so glad you could join us in
welcome to our kill room.
Dun, dun, dun. Hey, that's my bit.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. Anyway, our kill room. You can find us on Facebook and Twitter. We have some new friends.
Whoa, what's up with Jesus's head?
Can you do it in Kat's camera? Let's see. There we go. Oh, it's out of focus, but we get the idea.
He's a little, I don't want to say it because people are going to get upset because it's Jesus. But then we have Masuka.
Yay, Masuka! That's adorable. That's beautiful.
All right, let's get into this week's episode called
Horse of a Different Color.
Yes, I do believe that's a quote from Wizard of Oz, although you had some deeper things to say about it than that.
What I wanted to say that I've never said before, but I'm going to say it right now. I finally am into the Travis Gellar storyline.
Huzzah!
Finally.
The day has come.
Yeah. Horse of a Different Color. I now think they're interesting, and I'm excited. And I also was thinking of maybe a theme for this episode.
Ooh, do tell.
We were talking earlier about what that means, horse of a different color. It's not necessarily what you expected. Oh, that's a horse of a different color. And I thought it's kind of like when Mos Def was baptizing, or I should say Brother Sam was baptizing people, dunking them in the pond, a second chance. It's Dexter not expecting a second chance. He thinks it's very, maybe I'm a little far-fetched here.
No,
but
absolutely.
I'm trying to make the connection why it's called a horse of a different color. I know Dexter said it in the episode.
Sure. I think that sounds great, the points you brought up, because you're right, it's the unexpected. He is so, just steadfastly logical and rational and, like you said, scientific, but having these little glimmers of coincidence and stuff like that,
yeah, especially tonight.
Yes, very much so.
It was big.
Before we get too much into the Horse of a Different Color and all the killer moments, you mentioned you're getting into the Professor Gellar storyline. On our Facebook page, facebook.com/stupidfordexter, we have a poll. What's your favorite storyline of the season? Right now, what's winning?
Brother Sam.
Brother Sam is winning.
Brother Sam,
but we will announce our winner next week.
absolutely.
We'll pick a winner next week of based on what you guys say. We'll say what the number one is from our fan base, which is the biggest Dexter fan base, I believe, in the entire world. So go on facebook.com/stupidfordexter and vote, and then we'll give it over to the people at Showtime. How about that? No other Dexter show can promise you that. I've got a lifeline over to the people there. Also, one of the people in the show tonight, a friend of ours who I'm hoping to get on during the show.
Nice.
So we'll get into that. I'm hoping. The email's out. Worst case, we'll get her on next week. She was on the show this week.
Okay, very cool.
So Facebook, please.
Cool.
And sorry, take it away.
Well, I think we should just dive right in, if you don't mind, to our first segment, Killer Moments.
All right, killer moments.
What's one you had?
So one of the ones that I had, I know it's obvious, and I know you're gonna the angel death.
Oh yeah.
I mean, duh. That was the third kill by the Doomsday Killer. That was quite a scene. I know, as grotesque and as disturbing as it was very artistic, and I mean,
Do you think that
creepy?
Do you think that cop that kicked the line of wire is going to get fired?
I hope so.
I actually rewound it a bunch of times because I was trying to figure out if it was the cop or if it was Deb stepping in front of her. And the camera showed the cop no, they showed her face, but then you see another leg. And if anybody else can make that out, feel free. I rewound it a couple different times, and I couldn't figure out if there was another leg that went in front of hers.
Okay.
Just pointing out. And that's Jamie, by the way, Silver Himps. I want to say Silver Mint. Silver Hertz. Silver Hertz. Got it. I know Jamie. That's how I know her last name. So that's who we're trying to get on tonight or next week is the hope. Emails have gone out. Facebooks have gone out. We're waiting.
Yeah, that killer moment. Basically, our killer moments, if you don't know by now, are things that maybe further the story, they're really important to the plot, or we just simply like them. So I definitely thought that was a killer moment. That was huge. That moment is what got me interested in the Travis Gellar.
Is that it?
Because it reminded me of Silence of the Lambs, and I love Silence of the Lambs. And it was like Jesus, angel, death, and how it opened, and it was beautiful. I mean, it was gory, but it was,
artistic,
man, now you think I'm sick. You think I'm sick now.
No. I'm on the same page,
Okay.
and it's, and just that creepy moment when she was alive, because they look into the greenhouse and everybody stops and you go, oh, look at what he's done, but wait, he's not done yet. And it was very little Saw too. I don't know if you've ever seen Saw, not that.
Yeah, I've seen Saw.
Yeah. Ugh.
I see Saw.
Killer moment number 1 was the angel.
Killer moment number 1, angel.
You know, I had another killer moment. You know, it sounds funny after talking about that moment. But I loved when Batista and Quinn got high.
They were adorable.
They were, and
so
I know
cute.
it's not like a huge moment, but I feel like it's going to be important because it's now making me re-interested in Quinn, and I think there's going to be a nice partnership going there.
I agree.
Something's up.
I do too. And you know what? It's so easy to say, well, Quinn's just being a dick because, well, he's just a jerk. No, there's a lot of pain there. He obviously had a lot of emotional investment in his relationship with Deb, and that went to hell in a handbasket, and he kind of needs a friend right now. And if anybody's going to be your friend, it's Batista.
And Diostrio says, I love how they did their best work while high.
Yes.
It's sort of like the Beatles. They did Revolver, right? And then they went Rubber Soul into Revolver. Was it Revolver to Rubber Soul? I think Rubber Soul was before Revolver.
Yeah.
But that was their drug phase and their best work.
I definitely, when they had the munchies before they went in and they told Deb the lowdown and they rocked it out.
And they just kind of like went,
everything.
They just got dropped the file, solved it.
I actually thought, it's funny that Dios said that, but I actually thought, man, they should get high more often.
They should.
Dead
They were
Pixel Live,
amazing.
because of my Beatles reference, says, I'm really old. Beatles, come on, people.
Oh, no.
I don't know the Beatles.
I did write a paper.
Who are the
I did
Beatles?
write one of my master's papers on the fact that Rubber Soul from the creative minds of the Beatles. I did actually do that in grad school.
Wow.
That's
There you
adorable
go.
too.
Moving on.
So, another one. What that you had? You want to?
Another one I had, and I know, yet again, it doesn't seem like a big deal, but I am still suspicious. Intern gets caught selling evidence on this
eBay.
really shady eBay
Or whatever.
site.
Yeah.
And
Fake eBay for
It was
rights
a fake
issues.
eBay
Just
for
rights
TV.
issues. I don't think there was a reason it
but
wasn't.
yeah, auctioning off evidence, and I feel like they made it too easy to make it like, oh, well, she's just trying to make money. She knew a little bit too much about all of the different cases
Yeah,
that
why
had
would
gone
she
through.
sell it on eBay? That's what weird, because it seemed like she was interested. She was going to keep it as a token, or
I
we thought there was
know.
some kind of relation, and then she just sold it on eBay.
Well, there is
And of course,
something-
it seemed fishy when she's like, I was paying my rent. That didn't seem like
That
a
doesn't
real
seem right either.
Yeah.
There is something called murderabilia, which is a really creepy pseudo underground sort of eBay style auction. It's people collect items that were owned by serial killers or murderers or really ghastly crimes, and you know, it's right up that vein, like to have a token like of the hand from the ice truck killer with, I mean, to have that hand to I guess a murderabiliologist. I don't know.
Oh, I like that. That sounds smart.
That has a lot of syllables. We're going to go with that.
Yeah.
But somebody who collects murderabilia, that would be like a holy grail.
Yeah.
So,
And I loved how Masuka shot her down.
oh yes, I was so proud of him. I was like, she has a fine ass, Masuka, but don't let her do that.
Yeah.
And he didn't.
Yeah,
I was so
I loved
proud
it.
of him.
I loved it. I had another one.
Ooh, yes, Cher.
I called it the coffee god, and that's when Dexter went up to get coffee, and he's like, you know, when Harrison had something rupture.
Yeah.
Please, I'll do something for you if you do this for me.
I'll put quarters in you.
Yeah, it was kind of like that whole horse of a different color. It was something unexpected for him.
Yeah.
You know? Oh, and when the doctor
definitely.
comes out, oh, thank God. Now it's just an expression. It's true. It is just an expression.
Right.
But I love this, once again to the Facebook poll, I love this most deaf Dexter relationship.
It's really interesting.
And here's a little prediction.
Oh, do tell.
I really hope that most deaf really becomes one of the main people figuring out the Bible with the police. Like,
Well,
I hope he gets called in and he is, kind
that'd
of
be
like
amazing.
yeah.
Well, his Bible had those notes. I mean, that right there, I thought, get him involved. Like, obviously, the man has studied this.
Man, that reminds me of someone else.
Oh, yes, somebody else who
That
knows
could
about
go
the
right
Bible?
into our second segment
I
of
think so.
Sunday Schooled.
Nice segue. Oh, yes. Oh, that was lovely.
So we are going to Skype with David Sanders, our religious expert.
Woo!
Are you there, David?
I'm here.
Hi, David. How are you?
Hey, Kat. Hi, Mandy.
So how did you like the episode?
I mean, it was nonstop tonight. Last week, there wasn't too many religious implications, but tonight, I mean, I was like taking notes. Oh, I even had to put my faithful assistant, my wife, to work tonight to find some things for me because it was like overpowering everything that was there tonight. So I'm like ready for those questions.
Man. Oh, wow.
Well,
By the way, it's not the coffee god, it's the patron of coffee, Saint Arbucks.
Of course.
All right, yes.
That's funny.
And we're done with David for tonight. Guys, thanks for joining us.
Now maybe I missed this, but I know 1242 and 1237, I know they're 5 days apart. They said that in the episode, but is there any other significance in those numbers? Did I miss anything?
Okay. There's no Revelation 12:37. There's no Revelation. It doesn't go up to 37.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
But my faithful assistant found it for me, and there's a couple of things. Now, this person who wrote this script, I'm wondering who they're in touch with on this, because 1237 is a sermon, number of a sermon by Charles Spurgeon, who was a Baptist minister in England in the 19th century, and it was on Revelations chapter 12, verse 11, which talks about being victorious for Jesus against the Antichrist. So that's one. The other thing is that 1237 and 1242 happens to be a part of Emanuel Swedenborg, who was an 18th century religious thinker, and which talks about the vestment, the Lord's vestment, wearing that as being part of being victorious against Antichrist. So I don't know if this person really did his research, but that's what we come up with the 1237 and the 1242.
That's amazing. Tell your faithful helper, thank you very much. That's some really very, very
You
deep
gotta
information.
think, those numbers are so random. You gotta think that they mean something,
Right. But there's no chapter 12, verse 30. And you're going, so where in the heck does that come from? And you're thinking, well, maybe it's just the 5 days in between.
Yeah.
But there's something. So I don't know whether the writer's going with Swedenborg or if he's going with Spurgeon on this. So we'll have to wait and see.
Female writer this week. It's I forget their now I forget their name. I was actually on a panel with her, and now I can't remember her name.
Is it Melissa?
No, it's
talk this week.
Yeah, I'll look it up. Go ahead, keep talking. I'll find it.
Okay. Yeah.
I had a question. I was wondering about, they were talking about the sword of John the Revelator. And
yeah, well, John the Revelator. Revelator is out of a song. I can't remember. I heard about John the Revelator, and I thought it was on Sons of Anarchy if I heard the song. One of my favorite shows, too. But anyway, there's no sword for John the Divine or John the Evangelist or John the Theologian who wrote the Revelation, but there was a sword for John the Baptist, which is a church relic, which supposedly was used in the beheading of John the Baptist. Okay, but there's no sword per se of John who wrote the book, but it's very important. The whole thing about church relics is important because throughout the history of the Orthodox Church and the Catholic Church, relics of the saints are very much, important. You have the spearhead of Longinus, which supposedly pierced the side of Christ. You have the chains of St. Peter. You have clothing from the saints and everything. They're all venerated. I mean, that's very biblical. Even in the Old Testament, talks about in 2 Kings, I believe, where the Hebrews dropped a body into the...
Uh-oh. Live, people. Live. We got... Oh, wait, he's back.
Oh, he's back.
On the bones, and he comes back to life again.
Wait, say that.
And so we have precedent in the Old Testament and in the New Testament where Paul's handing out kerchiefs or cloths and people are being healed by them. So that's all goes back to the whole idea of holy relics.
Wow.
Okay.
Interesting.
Wow.
I liked how they were talking about how the sword had rust and how it was made very authentically. It made me think of the SCA, which is like a Society of Creative...
Anachronism?
Yes. They're just like LARPers without any elves
He
running
knows.
around. You know.
David Sanders knows.
I am a member.
Yes! Oh my God, you're SCA member. That's awesome.
Shut the front door.
Shut the front door. That's so cool. So he's a Revelation LARPer, I guess.
I love it. I love it.
Anyway, sorry, you had a question, and I
No, I didn't actually. I really don't know what else. I mean, was there anything else in this episode that stood out to you?
Baptism.
Oh, in this episode? I mean, what didn't stand out? I mean, he talks about, baptism, about the whole idea about baptism is just the dunk. Well, that's, there's a lot of people, a lot of churches that believe that actually something does happen at baptism. That it's a mystical thing that takes place. So you have different groups that believe that. When he talked about, when Brother Sam was talking to Dexter at in the hospital, which was St. Peter's Medical Center, by the way.
Yes.
Okay.
I noticed that.
Remember, St. Peter is supposed to hold the keys to heaven. That's who you're supposed to meet when you die at first. That's right. So Brother Sam says, I remember people talking about God would, just make me want to punch him. Well, I've met people of God that made me want to punch him too. I don't think, you've got wackos around, and I think that's one of the things that Dexter's trying to stay away. He wants to steer clear of anybody that's a wacko. Okay, he's wanting something that's solid. Okay, and right now, only thing Brother Sam can give him is experience, and for the most part, in any type of approach or talking about religion, because you can sit down and have an intelligent conversation logically about the existence of God. And Brother Sam said tonight, he says, you can't prove he exists. Then again, you can't prove that he doesn't exist.
Yeah, I like that.
So,
I like that he said that.
Right. You keep an open mind, and Dexter has an open mind.
Yeah.
He just doesn't. He's not really moved. It doesn't show it that much, but as it moves on, when his dad says, well, you talk to an imaginary dad, don't you?
And I think he hasn't had much reason, and now he has this little boy, and, he has a lot of things to think about these days,
Most people come into religion after they've had children. They may have been raised in religion, have a religious background and everything, and most of them get away from it, but it's not till they start having family is when they really start getting, you'll find when they've done statistics on people, why'd you get back into church again? Well, I have children now, and they're not just concerned about their physical well-being, but when you think about what happens to your child afterward,
Sure.
Gee, I want something to be, for my child afterwards also.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Any questions in the chat room?
I've got a couple of questions. I see your shirt you're wearing. Is that religious? Is that a tallis? Is that a...
Paying homage to the angel that's in there every week in Dexter.
Batista.
Angel Batista. I like it. I thought it was your own sort of tallis. We Jews have the tallis, and
No, those are
sort of.
palm trees. I lived in Miami for 17 years. So.
Look at that.
Beautiful.
All right. Let me see. The problem with chat room is it kind of jumps and then we can't find
I had
stuff.
a quick question
Go
just
ahead.
about the fish that were part of the
the fish.
The fish part that were part of the Alpha Omega sign at the very end of the episode. I know that
Revelations chapter 8 verse 8 talks about when the sea There's a problems where the angels, when the the beginning of the end comes and things are starting happening, pestilence and death. Well, a third of the sea creatures die.
Oh.
And so that's symbolism of that, because right after that, what happens? He opens that thing and all those locusts go flying out. And either that's chapter 6, verse 7, where the pestilence comes, or it's chapter 9, verse 7, Revelation, where they talk about the locusts, which are attacking. And some people have interpreted that to mean that John didn't understand what a helicopter was, and so that's symbolic of, because it looks like, if you look at a helicopter coming at you, it looks like a flying locust if there's a bunch of them coming. And so they said that maybe he was preferred, that's the only thing he could see in his mind. So that's up to interpretation, but a lot of people say no, it's locusts. And so Dr. Gellar is trying to bring this on, so he's bringing all this stuff out.
Yeah,
there's the dead fish.
Let's go through the 3 kills and see if there still is not a pattern. And again, we talked about this, that the pattern is whatever they think's going to be the end of the world. So maybe it's not a pattern that any of us could figure it exists. But so we had the first kill, snakes came out of him.
Fruit vendor
with the snakes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the second one was also in today's show, was the horses, right? With the guy and the horse, with
Apocalypse
the 4
ponies.
horsemen. And then the angel, I guess the fallen angel, we're saying, is that sort of what she represented? Did we?
Oh, I thought she was the Jesus.
Well,
no, it was she had angel wings,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, she had angel wings on. Yeah, definitely. I was looking through Revelations for all these, and there's angels everywhere in Revelation, but there's nothing to basically focus in on actually what she represented, because the angels in Revelation are all announcing something, unless she was symbolic, because right after she died, right, then the locusts came out. When they went over and they heard the noise,
Right.
well, what's that? And then and then the locusts came out. So
Yeah.
then she was a symbol of, okay, there's the angels giving the sign for that next sign from God or from Dr. Gellar.
I was so worried for Batista in
So we
that
got a couple of
part.
questions in the chat room that maybe you can
baby.
you can explain to people. Jeff9650 asks, and now I hate this chat room. It pops up.
Not the people.
Isn't Revelations about the seas turning red? Yeah, I love the chat room people. It's the chat room actually goes boop, and I miss it. But Revelations, was that about the sea turning red? Was that in Revelations?
Yeah, that was what I was talking about in chapter 8.
Yep.
It talks about the oceans being basically polluted, but it talks about the third of the sea creatures being destroyed coming out of that, and that's where I was saying that's where the dead fish represented.
Yep. Okay. Court 1989-2. What's with the intestines?
So what's with the intestines?
What's with the intestines?
He needed a place to put the serpents. There's
But today,
about the disembowelment, and it was just a thing about the only thing that I could see in there was just that he needed a place to put the serpents, and that's where they came. They put them inside his stomach. I haven't found anything that would relate to that, anything particularly about that. Of course, it could be when Judas died, his bowels burst forth.
Ew!
After he died, so that could be that.
You could try some Pepto-Bismol.
Judas, so
All right. A lot of Dead Pixel Live, which it doesn't really relate to religion, but I'm going to relate it to religion.
Huh.
Okay.
What's crazy is that Travis hit that on his first date. Other people, Travis comes across as crazy. Why would she even sleep with him? And I'm like, maybe God is on his side.
Have you ever noticed the biggest fall, especially in the 80s? You had Jimmy Swaggart and Jim Baker and all these guys. Their biggest problem is with sex.
Yep. Yeah, they always get caught.
That's right.
Well, it's power. Money and power leads to the ladies.
Right.
and little boys.
Ah!
Well, you had St. Augustine, who wrote that was mainly one of the reasons why man fell, is because of the whole idea behind sex. Of course, St. Augustine was, before he became a Brother Sam type of guy, turn everything around, he was a big ladies' man. And everything he wrote was about, you got to stay away from women because they're this, that, and sex will do this to you and everything else. So, there's that thing about, the sexual sin,
That makes sense, though. Just
Okay.
You know?
Any predictions?
Yeah. What do you think?
You know, this writer's good. I really like. I mean, my wife and I just about beat up the TV when it ended because
Lauren, it's Lauren Guskizis, Guisis. I'm terrible with names today. But she was on she was on a panel I was on. She actually started off writing the Dexter that like comic book they had online. So she started writing that, and then she was part of the Dexter staff that way, sort of in their new media division, and now she's a supervising producer on the show.
She seems to know what she's talking
And
about.
she wrote this episode.
I think the thing that was really interesting tonight was that his imaginary father figure told him not to write it off. The religion. That was the big thing.
So you're saying imaginary?
Well,
Harry?
he said, "Well, you're talking to your."
Oh, Harry. I'm sorry. I thought we were talking about the professor. My bad.
Yeah, Harry did say that.
So is that the struggle that he's having within himself right now? Of, gee, do I just turn off this kind of thing, or do I really look into it? And now he's concerned because he made a pact. He gave his word.
So you're predicting he will be more religious in the future?
I think he's going to be believing in a higher power.
Okay.
Not to say what it is. I just got a feeling he's going to have this, and unless the writers are really taking us for a ride and they said, okay, sorry, he's going back again. I mean, okay, my hat's off to the writer. It looks like he's heading that way of really giving it serious thought, because before he wasn't giving it serious thought.
Mm-hmm.
Now, and when you talk about the pact, you talk about a covenant. You talk about the covenant between Abraham and God. That was an agreement,
Sure.
I'll be your God, you become my people. Okay?
Like when he got the coffee.
Yes.
Tonight's episode.
He made a bargain, and he.
But was there cream and sugar included on that? No.
There are a lot of this question is being asked by a lot of people in the chat room, and they want to know: do you think Dexter is going to hell?
Okay, then this question was asked before.
It was.
So.
Yeah, I thought we asked him this.
Well, the chat room's not paying attention.
Yeah. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, well, the thing is, once again, I don't make that judgment. And people say, well, he's a killer and this and that. And, well, what about Adolf Hitler? He can't be going to heaven and this and that. You got to remember, Dexter thinks he's doing good. And a lot of us think he's doing good because he's ridding the earth of these horrible monsters, right? Now, he doesn't have a motive behind it except for they're bad people, they got off and this and that. What happens later on when he dies? I mean, does God send him to hell? I think the thing is God judges us with what we have been given, and so and what we do with what we've been given. So let's see where Dexter goes with this. But even so, even if Dexter doesn't say in the episodes he believes in God or anything, I mean, I'm still not the guy to say, well, he's going to hell, because, like I said last time, at his last breath, I don't know what the conversation, if he has a conversation with God or not, or what goes on. So that's between God and Dexter, the man.
Yeah.
One more question. Professor Gellar as a cult leader figure.
Oh.
What do you think of that? Because, let's get into a little bit of cult leader. Is he the typical cult leader type guy that he's showing and running Travis's life, sort of, telling him what to do?
Travis cannot do anything with asking Dr. Gellar. And even when Dr. Gellar says, well, we have free will, right? Well, right, we have free will, but not according to... Maybe Dr. Gellar believes that there's free will, but he doesn't believe it's free will to do with what you want to do. It's free will to follow what I say. Mm-hmm. And a typical cult leader monitors their people. And that's why, when you can tell people who are either monitored in some sort of religious following or something like that, that the people don't let them go out on their own, that there's always somebody watching them, they have to report to somebody. Very typical of cults, and a lot of people whose children get involved in things like that go to specialists, and sometimes they have to go kidnap their kid and take them out and get them deprogrammed. But I've met a lot of people that have gotten out of cults and gotten into others. I mean, I knew somebody who was involved with David Koresh.
Oh my gosh!
Oh wow!
And found out the person was we realized this guy was a cult leader, and boom, in the next group that they were in, I thought, oh my gosh, that's just another cult. But this person fell into this group because they could not think for themselves.
I mean, here's a very controversial question leading up to that. I'm curious what you think. And isn't that a form of just sort of addiction, right? If you're going from a cult to a cult, or you hear a lot about people who were very heavily addicted to drugs or something who then found Jesus, but they get really into Jesus. Is that sort of another addiction, replacing an addiction?
I'm not a psychology major, but it seems like that's what got me. I said, well, this person has a real problem adjusting to making decisions on their own. Now, is that an addiction, or do they lack something within themselves, like self-confidence, to be on their? Well, think about somebody who's codependent.
Right?
When someone else, boom, they got to be with someone else. They got to find another partner right afterwards.
Makes perfect sense.
So is it a strange form of codependence? That would be an interesting thing to ask probably a psychiatrist on something like that, but that's how I see it.
But we went with the religious expert this season.
Yay! Well, David, thank you so much for joining us once again. You have a wealth of information.
Yes.
It's very interesting.
Thank you so much.
And we will see you next week.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Look at that, full of information, see?
It's amazing.
And I love that we had a religious expert on Stupid for Dexter a few weeks before Dexter had a religious expert on Dexter.
I know.
That's right.
And they're like, maybe we should bring in a religious expert guy for the third killing. And I'm seeing one killing, I'm like, let's bring it. So maybe I should run Miami Metro Police.
Totally.
Maybe I need Deb's job.
Totally. Just remember to dress nice.
That's right.
Well,
you
not really
gotta
good.
look pretty.
Well,
you
I would
look
be
like
good.
you're going to a hoedown.
I think I do look like I'm going to go down.
I like that shirt. But anyway.
Thank you.
Anyway, so there you have that. I say we jump right into our next segment.
I say
Is that crazy?
no, let's do it.
Are we ready for that, maybe? Okay. How about some Worldwide Dexter?
Dun, dun, dun. Although this might be, wait, is this going to say Dexter or news? Hold on. Is this the right graphic? Oh, it's news.
Oh.
The graphic disappeared, and now
Graphic
it's
disappeared.
so we have the old graphic. Gremlins? Maybe?
Gremlins.
New tech TriCast for Gremlins?
Oh, it's not
Don't
new
feed
tech's
them after
fault.
midnight.
No, I'm not saying it's their fault. I'm saying the
No,
Gremlins.
it's us. Yes.
Okay, well, it is
By the way, if you want to
Dexter.
see a gremlin, cat got a new cat. That's a gremlin.
She's not a gremlin.
Well,
She's a baby.
maybe we should post a picture on Stupid for Dexter so you can see the serial killer cat. It's like it's staring at me. Wait, you got my camera here? This is how I'm watching TV and stuff. It's just like.
It can't help it. It's a smushy face.
All right.
You guys are mean.
So check this out. Elaine found some parodies of Dexter, mostly on YouTube. And some of them are really fantastic.
There's
People
some
are
amazing
super
ones.
creative, great ideas, and we want to show you one.
Indeed.
Yeah, so whenever it's ready, or I could okay, it's ready.
Dexter parody videos and go.
Night, the place where my dark passenger thrives. That's the cool term I made up for my desire to kill people. And this is my inner monologue.
That new serial killer struck again.
The one that switches the victims' heads with their feet?
Yeah, the head-foot switcher.
That's a catchy name. Took you long enough. Swear word. Click. It's a new season, so meet my new boyfriend.
Hey,
Trevor's probably not gonna end up being a killer or end up dead, so be nice to him.
could you pass me that foot of lettuce?
Don't you mean head of lettuce? It's him, the head-foot switcher.
Hey Dex, you dropped something.
You need to be more careful, Dexter. Use my magic code.
I decided that I hate you now.
But I'm a friendly ghost!
Does anyone even care about our storylines?
Sex.
I wish I could thank this new serial killer for inadvertently teaching me something that I will carry into the next season.
Hold on a second. You have two knives.
So there you go. I actually know the guy who played Harry. His name's John. We went to college together.
And that was on youtube.com/thelandline. And we don't, you know them, but what Lane just found, I thought it was really funny. We found a couple of them. We decided that was the best one.
It's
So
I didn't
thank
actually-
you, the landline, who doesn't know we exist. And
Last
hopefully
year,
we get some hits.
one of our fans on our Facebook page emailed that to me.
Oh.
And I shared it with y'all. This was last year, though.
I don't remember anything.
Yeah, it's okay.
I don't read
You were
reviews.
wasted.
Yeah. I was with Matsuka. And,
That's right.
No, with Batista.
No,
sorry. I was with
Batista and Quinn.
But we have a poll on our Facebook page that we already talked about, so that's some more news. And so, you know, definitely go on Facebook if you haven't liked us already. Definitely like us.
And I was complaining that we needed 500, and we were at like 2-something. Now we're over 400. Like we got like 200 more last week. Thank you. 500, or we don't do a show next week. No, that's it. 500. I think we're 411 now or something like that.
Can you
What's our
deal with
Facebook?
that?
If you can't share our videos with your friends,
421.
we don't 421. We don't ask for money. Give us money. We don't ask for anything. We're at 421. Give us 79, 69, 69, 79,
Yeah.
69. Oh, it's been a long day.
No, I'm totally gonna.
There you go. Share it
I'm
and
totally,
get your friends to like us on
Get
Facebook.
on
That easy.
Facebook, but I'm also going to throw out some other things for the chat room
Please.
right now for Kat and
Awesome.
I to discuss. You know, a lot happened in this episode. We definitely delve into the religious part of it.
Yes,
That's
we
for
did.
sure.
By the way, I'm going to totally interrupt you. If you want to Skype in right now and say anything or talk in the chat room, get some stuff ready. When Mandy's done, you can talk about this episode as well. We keep forgetting to go to Skype.
You can say hi to
Or
us.
talk
We
to
love
us in our
you.
chat room. I'm going to take some messages right now. Sorry, Mandy, I apologize.
That's okay. It's very important.
Mandy.
Mintberry Crunch. Now's your
Always
chance.
good.
Mintberry Crunch, we
Always
love
good.
you.
Anyway, there was so much. I love the whole LaGuardia is the old face.
I know. Oh man, they're making her such a grouch this
Well,
season.
she's a bitch.
I know. This season she's awful.
She is a bitch.
I want to crush up some Midol with a mortar and pestle and just put her in coffee. Be like, stop being a bitch.
Something is going to happen with that. Something. And I don't know if it's going to be like the coolest, most wonderful storyline ever.
I don't
but she is
know.
getting stepped on. And then Deb says fuck on TV. And people love it.
She's a honey badger. That's why people love a good honey badger.
But the point is, every time LaGuardia thinks that Deb is going to fail, she gets higher and higher up the ladder.
It kind of reminds me of Roadrunner and Coyote.
Yeah. It's kind of like
LaGuardia
that.
is just like, oh man.
Mimi.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, and then I also like the idea about Chicago Mike.
I love Chicago Mike.
I love me some Chicago Mike too.
He is so debonair. He is just.
Put a guy in a suit, you guys just like,
Oh no, he is.
He's a handsome
He's a
man.
handsome man.
Yeah, and him and Deb, when are they going to get it on?
Oh, they have to. They're so cute. Their little power suits now. They have power suits.
Dead Pixel says in 3 weeks.
In 3 weeks.
In
Okay.
3 weeks.
That's a
you
very
will be
specific
banging
frame of time.
Chicago Mike and Deb. 3 weeks Dead Pixel Live gives it.
It's going to happen.
What's the over-under
It
on 3
will.
weeks?
The over-under on 3 weeks.
You
That's
get
another
3
Facebook poll.
Is it gonna be, over-under on 3 weeks. We'll put that up on Facebook. There's
Yeah,
the
we'll have to
Facebook
do a new
poll.
poll.
And you know what else I love about Chicago Mike?
What?
When he was, going into, it wasn't tableau. What word did he use when he was talking about the...
It was Tableau.
Oh, what's Tableau?
Was it tableau?
Tableau.
And Quinn was like, what does that mean? And Dexter just was like, boom.
Like, shut up.
Yeah. Like, in your face, Quinn.
I know. And
Yeah.
I know Quinn's he's like a toddler. He's acting up because he's hurt. But sometimes people have to be like, hey, you shut your mouth. I know. And Tableau always reminds me of Arrested Development. There's an episode where I'm sorry, I'm talking about Arrested Development
Please,
now.
it's the greatest
Go
show
for
ever.
it.
on
Okay,
TV.
don't mind me. The moment he said the word tableau, it reminded me of the episode of Arrested Development where they do the great works of art, where they're all a part of it and they dress up and they talk about
Yeah, the living works of art.
the living works of art. I guess it's based off of a real thing in Orange County too. By the way,
There you go.
Cool.
Sorry.
Okay, so prediction-wise, we've had a lot of back and forth.
Oh, yes.
Not just among us, but I know on our wall, I'm sure in the chat room, the whole Travis Professor Gellar thing. Is Travis schizophrenic? Does he have his Professor Gellar identity and the Travis identity? I mean, is it like the devil angel? What's happening?
I'm leaning towards one side, but I'm also looking for evidence. I haven't. My thing is that I'm looking for very Sixth Sense, very stuff like that. Where is Professor Gellar in public actually interacting, looking, eating, talking, doing anything with the environment?
The waitress didn't notice him.
Nope, and neither did tied up. The same waitress.
He pat her head when she was tied up, and she didn't even flinch.
Oh yeah, and I'm also looking for other things that are it's called a dissociative identity disorder. Used to be called multiple personality disorder, but it's where you split and you have fragmented personalities.
Hey, somebody said that while we were watching the show.
I said it first.
I said DID.
Whatever. I said it first. And let me tell you, I'm looking for things that would indicate that he's fragmenting in his face or the things that he says. I want to think that they said, well, Professor Gellar went underground, and that could be 6 feet underground, or it could
That's
just be
what I thought.
Yeah, it could just be, oh, he disappeared. So regardless, Travis is crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no doubt about that, but I'm definitely looking for stuff that will solidify what I'm looking for. I want to think so because it makes it more interesting.
Here's
for me.
the one thing that didn't make sense. If this is true, and
Indeed.
Professor Gellar is, part of Travis's mind, why, when he paints, does the painting become fuller and fuller with color?
Did it?
Yeah.
Well, again, that can be in. What are we seeing from the camera? Are we seeing Travis's point of view, or are we seeing the camera's
we saw
point of
full-on
view?
wide shot.
I know, but all right. So you're saying you saw them both, but
It was a wide shot where he was painting. And
again, it's also
I know.
what the director wants you to see.
Yeah.
And,
No, you're
and
right.
in Fight Club, we saw things like that as well. So it doesn't always equal up.
Okay.
It
they
still
already
can
did,
be if you're looking for hints, the only hint we've really had so far is the waitress didn't look at him and he did not have a table setting.
That's
When have
true.
you ever gone to a restaurant where there was not a table setting for the second person? It was not a glass of water, which, by the way, was stolen from The Sixth Sense.
Yeah.
That was the first time.
And also, he burnt himself. That was the tell for me.
That was the beginning, but the beginning of The Sixth Sense, I believe, wasn't he in a restaurant and there wasn't a place setting
Something,
for him. And that's
yeah.
immediately when I saw the movie and people hated me. I'm like, oh, he's dead. Like, what?
Wait a second. He's dead in the Sixth Sense?
Oh, sorry.
oh, no spoiler
But
alert.
that's the only tell right now that has given any direction that I can see, unless you really go back, has given us. Maybe because we're looking for it now, but that's a very big tell of there was no place setting for him.
Are people chatting about it?
Are you chatting, people?
Are you
Does anybody
chatting
want to
about
chat with
this?
us?
Oh,
I thought that
Jeff
was huge.
9650 never saw The Sixth Sense. Sixth Sense.
Oh my God, we're so sorry.
Oh please, it's been like 10
Oh my God.
years.
That's your fault.
No, I feel
That's
really
your
bad.
fault.
I'm not a movie watcher. And
You should watch it.
Yeah, there's not. I'm sorry, I can't hold on for 10 years.
I am so sorry.
The waitress also didn't give a shit if he wanted more coffee. Says Diostrio.
That's true.
But I don't think he wanted more coffee. He didn't have anything.
Yeah.
Anybody else agree? Anybody else disagree? Let's.
Wait, he didn't want coffee. He wanted bouquet. Wait,
Dead
Gellar
Pixel
didn't
Live.
have
Dead
anything.
Pixel Live, I think, has the best thing at the end of the season. I think he might be right.
Oh,
The end of the
tell.
season, the final scene, Gwyneth Paltrow's head is in the box. Dead Pixel Live.
I didn't see that either, and someone didn't see 7.
Oh, people.
Yeah, now somebody's gonna
Get
bitch.
a
I never
life.
saw that movie. Hey,
Come on.
bullshit.
Well, I think we have the poll that's already up on Facebook, and we can do these polls too, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, why not?
Yeah, well, we have that one up. Oh, no, you know what? I forgot to put that one up. Do you think he's alive, dead? Is it a figment of imagination? I was going to put that up, and I think we
did
forgot.
you?
I don't think we put that up.
you?
That'll be up
Okay.
next.
I really like the idea just because I know that the character is supposed to be the contrast to Gellar, alive or not, or real or not, but Travis is so reserved and so just...
Not in the bed.
Well,
Bouncing
hey!
about now.
So, there you go. The hope is next week we will have Jamie on, who was the angel. Because I saw her, I'm like,
creepy.
that's Jamie. So, I've already
that'd be so great.
contacted the proper
The
authorities.
Silence of the Lambs angel.
Yeah. I'd like to
Yeah.
think of it as the Led Zeppelin angel,
The Led Zeppelin
yeah.
angel.
right? It's from Swan Song.
Definitely.
It's kind of the Swan Song.
Oh,
Led
what's our
Nirvana?
swan song?
Nirvana too? Nirvana?
No, Nirvana wasn't on Swan Song.
That was in
No, but don't they have a-
Oh yeah,
Angel.
there was in one of
Was
their
it
in a
between
heart-shaped
Angel?
box, I believe.
Yeah.
They had an
Yeah.
angel in their video. Anyway,
Anywho, I think that's our show. Do we have anything else we want to talk
Does
about?
anybody want to talk to us? Or?
no, let's wrap it up.
Oh, I have
Hi.
a question.
Oh, question.
I have a question.
Yes.
What are we going to do about Halloween weekend? We're not doing it Sunday night.
We'll figure that out. We'll let you know when the show will be on. It might not be on Sunday night because people want to do Halloween-y stuff.
Of course.
We'll decide, but the show we will do a wrap-up show for next week as well. We're just not sure exactly what day it'll be live or how.
Monday or
Excellent.
Tuesday night.
Could be Monday or
Yeah.
Tuesday night. We'll figure that all out.
So check out our Facebook page and know the latest.
That's
Thank you
right.
so much for joining us on Stupid for Dexter.
Thank you. We'll see you next time.
Woo!